That's right. It's KP's Video News, y'all. Yep. Been a lot of news jumping off here, man. I'm trying to come to you with quite regular here. Let's see. Quite regular. Telling you now, man. It's every day. Every day I got the news. Every day I got the news. That's right, folks. Yep. Every day. Every day I got the news. Yep. So I'm going to get started right away because I got the news. And y'all, I'm quite sure y'all got the news too. Anyway, Fulton County DA, Fulton County, Georgia. DA requests that a special grand jury help with the Trump investigation. So Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis has requested that a special grand jury be formed to help her with office probe into the former Trump's efforts to pressure Georgia officials following the 2020 election. Willis wrote in a letter to a local judge that her investigation has found a reasonable probability that Georgia's 2020 elections were subject to possible criminal disruptions. Her office is the best place to investigate what happened since the pressure campaign by Trump and his allies torched virtually every other level of state and federal government, leaving the Fulton County DA's office as the only one that is not a potential witness to conduct related to this matter. A special grand jury would have subpoena power, something Willis says is needed to compel the cooperation of witnesses and to assist in gathering additional evidence. According to Willis, Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger won't cooperate with the investigation unless he's subpoenaed. Trump famously pressured Raffensperger to find 11,780 votes, the margin he needed to win the state. Earlier this month, Willis stated that her decision on whether or not to formally charge Trump would come as early as the first half of this year. Former associates of Willis previously stated that a spike in crime and a backlog in cases could make it difficult for Willis to juggle an investigation of the former president's actions with her office day-to-day business. Willis' request must be approved by a majority of the county superior's judges. Special grand juries like the one Willis has requested are rarely used in the state. If approved, the grand jurors would not be able to issue indictments. Michael Moore, an Obama-era U.S. attorney for the Middle District of Georgia, stated that the probe's escalation could be a concern for Trump. Anytime you see an investigation take a step forward, people who have something to hide probably start to get a little nervous, he said. This is probably about seeing what testimony she can get from people and what evidence that she can use. All right. Telling you, man. Got to get him. Get him. You know you got to get him. Okay. Now this is disturbing right here, in the sense that you had a person that was locked up and they let this person go. So we got a man that was pardoned 7 years ago by a governor that was sentenced to 42 years in prison for drug robbery killing. And a Kentucky man pardoned 7 years ago for killing a man during a home invasion is headed back to prison for the very same crime. Patrick Baker was convicted of murder by a federal jury and sentenced to 42 years for killing Donald Mills in a drug-related robbery in 2014. The DOJ announced late Tuesday that former Republican Uh, Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin previously pardoned Baker in 2019 for the same crime. Baker was able to be prosecuted without violating double jeopardy protections due to the dual sovereignty doctrine, which allows state and federal authorities to prosecute a person for the same crime. Baker entered Mills' house in search of oxycodone pills while posing as the U.S. Marshal, according to the DOJ, and he held Mills and his family at gunpoint while searching for the drugs. Baker later shot Mills during the home invasion. The simple truth of this case is that Patrick Baker was found guilty of planning and committing an armed home invasion to acquire drugs, where he shot and killed Donald Mills. U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Kentucky, Carlton Shire, said in a statement, according to the DOJ, Baker was convicted of a brazen act of violence, one that resulted in murder committed while the victim's family was nearby. Bevin issued the pardon 1 year after Baker's brother and sister-in-law raised over $20,000 for his campaign debt. The Louisville Courier reported Bevin has denied that the fundraising had any effect on his decision to grant Baker clemency. So, yeah. Yep. Anyway, he was convicted by a federal jury and sentenced to 42 years in the federal penitentiary. Yep. And you people, everybody listening to the story would automatically assume that somebody did the home invasion, but the home invader just happened to be a 27-year-old white male, white guy that was hooked on oxycodone. So he was trying to get those oxycodone pills, man. He was a junkie. A white guy that was a junkie. Did a home invasion trying to get pills and ended up killing somebody. That's the picture that you see. That is the picture that you see. Home invader. Yep, he's a home invader. Yep, he is the home invader. Make sure I write that down. Home invader. See that picture. Home invader. Anyway, on to the next story. So, this story here came out a few days ago. They got Michigan Republicans that signed fake electoral certificates could face federal charges, and they need to face federal charges. Lock them up. Lock them up. I mean, lock them up and throw away the key. So you had 16 Michigan Republicans who submitted a certificate falsely claiming that Trump won the state's electoral votes in 2020 are now facing a potential federal investigation. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel revealed Thursday night that after a long probe into the matter, her office has opted to refer the case to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Michigan. I will tell you that we've been evaluating charges for nearly a year now based on these activities, Nessel stated. I will say, under state law, I think clearly you have forgery of a public record, which is a 14-year offense, and election law forgery, which is a 5-year offense. But we have decided to do with the investigation in light of the fact that, of course, we have seen various different false slates of electors from several different states in what seems to be a coordinated effort between the Republican parties in various different states. We think this is a matter that is best investigated and potentially prosecuted by the feds. Nessel added that she hopes the U.S. Department of Justice will become involved and will use information they already have to better understand exactly what happened that day so the federal charges can be evaluated. We had thought that it was very possible that we would be bringing charges, and we still might, Nessel said. Of course, there is no double jeopardy if you are able to bring both state and federal charges for the same offense. But obviously, this is part of a much bigger conspiracy, and our hope is that the federal authorities, the Department of Justice, and the United States Attorney General Merrick Garland would take this in coordination with all information they've received and make an evaluation as to what charges these individuals might face. I mean, if you think of many forgery and public of a public record for the purpose of defrauding the United States or conspiracy to commit an offense to defraud the United States, are so many others, but that would be able to up to the feds to decide. And on December 14th, 2020, Michigan's 16 electors met inside the state capitol to officially cast their ballots for Biden. A group of Republicans, including some of the GOP electors, attempted to enter the building after meeting at party headquarters, but were blocked by the Michigan State Police, the newspaper reported. According to the December 14th, 2020 memorandum obtained by the Detroit News, Kathy Burton, a Republican National Committee woman from Michigan, sent the GOP elector certificate to the U.S. Senate. The U.S. Archivist Benson's office and Robert Junker, the chief judge of the U.S. District Court for Michigan's Western District, the 16th Michigan Republicans who signed the certificate inaccurately claimed they were the duly elected and qualified electors of Michigan. They also stated that they convened and organized in the state capitol, which they did not. Michigan is one of at least 5 states where Republicans submitted fake electoral certificates declaring Trump the winner. So, even though Joe Biden won that state, they still try to declare Trump the winner in that. Well, here's dunce number 2. They had Mike Lindell go. That's that old crazy pillow dude. He goes to war with his bank after they tell him, take your money elsewhere. Get out of here. Just take your money and get on out of here. So this is funny. During an appearance on indicted Steve Bannon podcast, embattled My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell, revealed that his bank recently contacted him and asked him to close his accounts with them because they fear their association with him would cause reputational damage. Lindell, who was already facing a $1 billion civil suit filed against him by Dominion Voting Systems for defamation, played a recording. He says came from the bank officer at Heartland Financial and Minnesota Bank and Trust, who gave him 30 days to close his accounts and take his business elsewhere. Come get your money. We don't want your money. In the recording, Lindell was told the bank fears the FBI may subpoena his bank records and want no part of being associated with him, admitting any link to him is more of a reputational risk. With that, the betting executive and Trump booster claimed the bank is going to have to kick him out because he is not leaving. Telling Bannon, I'm not being part of this. I'm not leaving, so you're going to have to throw me out of your bank. Okay. Wow. Telling you, man. You really are a big screw up, man. Anytime a bank tells you, "Come get your money," we don't even want your money. Come get your money out of our bank. Come get it. Just come get it. Come get it. Come and get your cash. Come and get your money. Come and get your whatever it is you think you have here. So anyway, I was talking about this case the other day. It was about the 8-year-old girl named Fanta that was Fanta Ability, which was shot and killed by Sharon Hill police officers, and they have been charged. They have been charged with manslaughter, and Sharon Hill police officers each face a slew of charges in a connection with the death of 8-year-old girl who was shot by police while at a high school football game over the summer. Grand jury found the officers collectively fired their guns more than 24 times, injuring 4 people and leaving the 8-year-old fatally dead. And Sharon Hill police officers Devin Smith, Sean Dolan, and Brian Devaney are each charged with 12 counts of manslaughter and reckless endangerment in connection with the death of Fanta, plus the wounding of 3 others. Wow. I mean, these officers made a split-second decision to shoot, and they trust them to get that decision right, and they got it horribly wrong. The DA says the incident happened at the Academy Park Pennsbury football game on August 27th, and that's when witness stated that 16-year-old got into a fight, got into a verbal fight, and the Sharon Hill officers at the game helping people exit at the time. When the officers heard what was going on and saw what was going on, the grand jury found the 3 officers collectively fired 25 shots into a crowd of people, man, and killed an 8-year-old girl who was struck and killed. Wow. Grand jury is an investigative tool under Pennsylvania law for complicated cases, and it really helps you sort through the evidence. And there was a lot of evidence to get through here. Man, that's crazy, man. That is crazy. So they anyway, they they got arrested. They were arrested. Each one of them had a bail set at $500,000 unsecured for each defendant. A preliminary hearing has been scheduled for January 27th in Springfield District Court, and borough is scheduled to meet next Thursday to discuss whether the officers will keep their jobs. They should have been fired. That shouldn't even been a conversation. Yep, that shouldn't even been a conversation. So, moving on, we got a Massachusetts man sentenced to 4 years after being convicted of sending racist, misogynistic threats to Philadelphia police commissioner Outlaw. So he sent these messages to Philadelphia police commissioner Danielle Outlaw via email. The 40-year-old Peter Freitas of West Dennis, Pennsylvania, was convicted after a 3-day trial in September 2021 on charges of transmitting threatening communications in interstate commerce. On June 2020, Freitas sent 2 emails to the public police commissioner's office, City of Philadelphia email address. Officials said that emails contained racist, offensive, and threatening language. In one of the emails, he asked where she lived in one of the emails. So he also has a long history of sending racist, misogynistic, and assaulting law enforcement officers. Sending threats online is a serious federal crime, and whether the victim is a private citizen or a prominent civic leader, the public can rest assured that our office, together with our law enforcement partners, will work tirelessly to identify anyone who does this in order to ensure they're held accountable for their actions, stated the U.S. Attorney Jennifer Williams. And the FBI investigated this case with the assistance of the Philadelphia Police Department and the Dennis Police Department. And he is now sentenced to 4 years in prison. So that using that social media and using that media, man, threaten people is not a good idea. It's stupidity. Yep. Now here's the accusation. Here's this last case for the day. It's had an Alabama pastor accused police of malicious prosecution and defamation over a traffic stop, and he's not the only person suing a small town and its police officers. Vincent Witt, a Baptist preacher and chaplain of the city of Liscum, stated Officer Marcus Sellers pulled him over in Brookside for having a paper tag in June 2019, saying the vehicle fit the description of a stolen car. It's a brand new car. Witt told the officer, I just bought it a few days ago. Sellers asked for identification and questioned his chaplain's badge, Witt said, and the pastor said he responded with a racial slur. I said, do you pull everybody over like this? Witt recalled, and according to the lawsuit, the officer responded, look, you effing N-word, just stay out of Brookside. Witt made a complaint as soon as he got home and left a message for the chief, but Lieutenant Bo Savelle called back asking for Officer Witt and told him to come to the police station to file a complaint. And the pastor explained to the chaplain he was not an officer. Brookside is a real racist police department, Witt told the officer. Witt and his sister, Terrell, who wasn't even in the car, were then charged a few days later with impersonating police officers, and the department posted their photos on its Facebook page in Crime Stoppers. After the church service was over, Terrell Witt, a longtime federal employee, I pulled him to the side and showed him the picture, and he was like, what? I guess they're getting me back because I called a report how they treat people. I said, well, where did they get my name from? Because I wasn't even in the car. Brookside later dismissed the charges without explanation, and the pair are among at least 5 individuals suing the city's police department, giving the alleged and truthfully bizarre conduct, issuing and approving fabricated charges against Pastor Witt and Mrs. Witt for impersonating police officers without probable cause and publicizing the charges on Facebook and Crime Stoppers in retaliation for Pastor Witt's complaint. The court is unconvinced that Officers Savelle and Jones are entitled to qualified immunity. The U.S. District Court Judge Abdul Callan, who allowed the malicious prosecution and defamation to proceed, and months of research and dozens of interviews found Brookside, which is one of at least one police officer for every 144 people, derived more than half of its income from fines and forfeitures by police, an increase of 640% between 2018 and 2020. The town of just 1,200 people reported only 55 serious crimes in the 8-year period between 2011 and 2018, but saw its revenue skyrocket after adding more officers to patrol its roads, and by 2020, it had more misdemeanor arrests than residents. Wow. Yeah, they went power hungry crazy, man, when they discovered that they could just arrest people and take their property. Wow. For fines, they said that police department derived more than half of its income from fines and forfeitures, and it increased of 640% in 2 years from 2018 to 2020. Wow, guys, they just took that thing way overboard. So now they need to have the feds go in and check them out. Let the feds go in there and just disband that whole police department. Stay out of control. KP Video News, y'all. You know what it is.